Mr. Chairman, allow me to recognize the splendid address of Comrade Sister Rochelle Ford Duncan. It was an inspiring address, full of fervor, full of facts, and I'm sure what Comrade Duncan said will help all of us and inspire all of us on the way forward. Thank you very much, Comrade Ford Duncan. Mr. Chairman, First Deputy Political Leader, Comrade Alpha Baptiste, Second Deputy Political Leader, Comrade Sean Edwards, General Secretary, Leo Clark, members of the Diplomatic Corps, former Prime Minister, Sir Vaughan Lewis, my colleagues, my comrades who fought with me in the last general election. A round of applause for them, please. Our esteemed guests from the Nevis Reformation Party, Senator Carlisle Powell, former candidates Robert Lewis, and former Attorney General Philip Lacobinier. I see a former candidate, Andre Lewis, in the crowd. Welcome, my brother. Members of the Diplomatic Corps, our pastor, comrades, brothers, sisters, good afternoon. It is with a deep sense of humility that I stand here in this beautiful historic village of Bellevue, Vieux-Fort, a garrison of the St. Lucia Labour Party, to address you as your servant leader. A role for which I have to follow in some huge footsteps. I follow the example of our founding father, Comrade Honorable George F.L. Charles, first Chief Minister of St. Lucia, our hero, our union leader, our liberator, who would have been 100 years today. I pledge never to forget and endeavor to follow the example of that stalwart and leader. I follow in the footsteps of Kenneth Foster, who fought for labor in his darkest days and held our party together. Comrade Foster is still alive, although in failing health, and we wish him well. I follow in the footsteps of the Right Honorable Alan Louisi, former Prime Minister, leader and patriot, who captained our party to a resounding victory in 1979. I follow in the footsteps and salute Sir Julian Robert Hunt, leader of our party from 1983 to 1997, for his selfless love, work, and contribution to our party. Sir Julian led our party when all seemed lost, and with organization, determination, discipline, tenacity, and hard work, he took us twice to within one seat of electoral victory. We thank you, Sir Julian, and look forward to your continued contribution to our party and wish you improvement in your health. I want to also mention Mr. Velen John, who led our party for some time. And although they may not be friends of our party, we need also to mention Peter Josie and Neville Snack, who also led our party, but they've lost their way. I follow in the esteemed footsteps of our former leader and Prime Minister, Dr. Kenny DeAnthony. Intellectual and thinker who led our party for 21 years and served as parliamentary representative for Vieux-Fort for 20 years, for Vieux-Fort South, and Prime Minister for 15 years. I thank him for allowing me to serve in his cabinet also for 15 years and to be his deputy for 4. I salute you, comrade, for the contribution that you made to our party and country. Your legacy will be that of education, human human and social growth and development, guiding our country successfully through economic transition to modernization, and ensuring that justice and the rule of law prevails. I thank you, comrade. I salute all stalwarts. I salute Brother Tom Walcott, the longest serving member of our party. All patriots, elders, long-serving brothers and sisters of our great party. I remember the contribution of our deceased members who worked in the vineyard but did not see the promised land. I remember my confidant, my protector, my friend, Nigel Stokes Joseph, who would have cherished this moment with me. For all deceased brothers and sisters, let us observe a moment of reflection. Thank you. I thank the members of the Castries East constituency group, some of them who started with me from that electoral loss up to electoral victories 5 times. I thank you, comrades, sisters and brothers of the Castries East constituency group. I thank the former political leader, the candidates, those who ran the election in 2016 and before, the chairman of the constituency groups, the campaign manager and the campaign managers of the other constituencies, the executive members, the canvassers, the election workers, and most importantly, you and the 37,000 people who voted for Labour on June the 6th. We appreciate your support. You did not toil in vain. We have lost a battle, but not the war. I am proud of the way we conducted ourselves. We spoke the truth. We behaved in a professional way. We accepted our defeat in a dignified manner, and we live to fight another day. I guarantee you, Labour will return stronger than ever. Let us continue our work. Let us organize, mobilize, and consolidate for our victory, for the victory of all our people and our country. Let me recognize and thank our friends from overseas who have sent us greetings. We acknowledge the presence of the members of the diplomatic corps and thank them for the economic and social support that their countries have given to the people of St. Lucia. Allow me to pay special attention to our comrades from Venezuela who are experiencing some difficulties at this time. We look forward to an improvement in the political and economic situation and express our support for the elected government, democracy, and the rule of law. We also welcome our friends from Cuba, and we call for the immediate removal of the cruel embargo against our sister island of Cuba. We applaud President Obama for the decisive steps that he has taken to normalize relations with our sisters and brothers of Cuba. I thank you all. On June the 6th, the people of St. Lucia voted the United Workers' Party into government. And immediately, we respected the will of the people. We are a democratic party, and we believe in free and fair elections. We accepted our defeat and immediately began work to reorganize our party. The government was allowed to do the work of governing the country. They promised in 100 days that they would give us 5 to stay alive. Let us assess what they have achieved. Number 1, the immediate reduction and ultimate removal of the dreaded value-added tax. And the Prime Minister said, we will find a more creative way and a less onerous way of raising revenues now generated by VAT. What has happened? Nothing. Number two, reduction in vehicle licenses by 50%. Instead, there was a 50% reduction of the increase. What has happened? Number three, we will double the school feeding and the school transportation subsidies. And the Prime Minister said, we must guarantee all children at least one nutritional meal a day and take the financial strain off parents to ensure children go to school. What has happened? Number four, Prime Minister Shasne said that was dear to his heart. The United Workers' Party will have a targeted amnesty on hospital fees owed to Victoria and St. Jude's Hospital. It is unacceptable that a person who is unemployed or is a pensioner feels degraded to go to the hospital because they cannot pay their bill. What kind of government, what kind of man does it take to be able to impose that kind of wickedness on the people of the country? What has happened? Number five, we will remove personal property tax for a period of 3 years. It cannot be that the one thing that we have struggled so long to do, to own our house, and then after paying a mortgage for so many years, that the government would come and impose a property tax and cause us to lose our home. So said Shasne. What has happened? They promised jobs. They promised money in your pockets. Ching ching. But they have failed. They have failed to deliver. 100-day promise in their 5 to stay alive promises. Out of 100%, they scored 10%. And that is a fail. 10% over 100 is the score of the United Workers' Party. That is a fail. And they will continue to fail because the promises were based on untrue premises. In fact, they misled the people of St. Lucia and they continue to do so. Our party has nothing to be ashamed of. We gave St. Lucia good government. We managed our economy well. We took tough decisions to rescue our economy and country from the mess we inherited from the UWP in 2011. We saved our country from the dreaded IMF. We repaired our country from the ravages of Hurricane Thomas and the Christmas Eve trough. We built 23 bridges, and all these bridges stood up after the last rains. We gave bursaries to children entering secondary school. We gave $600 bursaries to teachers to purchase school supplies. We introduced the laptop initiative to secondary schools. We delivered a balanced school feeding program with sustainable linkages with agriculture in schools. We protected workers with a modern labor code. We built new schools and refurbished several others. We reintroduced STEP to give some relief to the unemployed. We created NICE and employed thousands of young people. We modernized agriculture. We introduced the Agricultural Incentives Act. We planted new crops with value added. We built new jetties for our fishermen. We reconstructed the Fish Marketing Corporation. We continue to work on 2 new hospitals. We built and repaired health centers. We increased social assistance to the poor and dispossessed. We assisted special needs families. We gave amnesty to persons with overdue hospital bills. We provided an enabling environment for investment to flourish. We introduced a well-structured CIP program. Several new hotels commenced construction and many more were extensively renovated. We made available land to the landless through the PROD program. We improved the social infrastructure by building recreational parks. We took care of our youth. We maintained once neglected playing fields and lighted others and built pavilions for spectators. We built new police and fire stations and made more training available to our police. We enacted modern laws and legislation to improve the life of our people. We were a government of all the people. We did not victimize anyone. We did not intimidate nor threaten. We governed for the betterment of all the people, not the privileged minority. We were a people's government. This is what we left on June the 6th. A country moving forward. A country that was continuing to put its fiscal house in order. A country that had avoided the draconian policies of the IMF. We have very shortly to undertake serious introspection to find out what went wrong and why did we lose the general elections on June the 6th. We have to honestly find out why. Where are we now? From June the 6th, everything has changed. The government appears to be clueless and has embarked upon a campaign of victimization and blame. Everything we built, everything we achieved for our people, everything we worked so hard for has now been dismantled. The fairness and equity and equality of the way, the manner we treated everyone has changed. Our country is once more in the hands of a government that has no shame in victimizing those who they perceive to be against them. A government of excuses, a government of blame, a government ministers publicly attack public officers with impunity. Was it necessary for the Prime Minister to launch such a public attack on the Attorney General and the Ambassador to the United States? Two professionally qualified women making a contribution to St. Lucia. A government that does not understand the difference between being in government and election campaign. The government suffers from selective memory loss. They were the ones who made the decision to stop the construction of the 5th wing on the new hospital. They now complain and blame us. The UWP found in 2006 the fundamentals for universal health care. They were in power for 5 years and they allowed it to die. When we returned in 2011, we found the economy in such a terrible mess that we had to slow down its implementation. Now, instead of continuing universal health care, they are embarking on a fairy tale scheme that the Prime Minister calls health care insurance. Are we trying to make some people rich, wealthy on the backs of the taxpayers? How will the ordinary man who is employed or underemployed access health care for his family? And talking about health care, the Labour Party makes no excuses, and we take no blame for the fact that the government has allowed the CET provision for medicines to run out, and we are paying more for medicine. That is purely the fault of the United Workers' Party. We take no blame for that. They had enough time from April to write to CARICOM to ask for derogation of the CET. They are the ones. They were so busy victimizing and traveling that they did not know that they had to write CARICOM to seek a derogation. So we took no excuse for them, and when you go to the pharmacies and you find out that the cost of medicine has gone up, blame the United Workers' Party. The UWP has substantially increased the cost of government to the taxpayers. They have complicated our system of government. We now have more than one minister in the same department or ministries, and the total confusion is the order of the day. They have appointed 16 ministers, the largest cabinet ever in the history of St. Lucia. Why did they do that? Why did they feel the need to do that? You tell me. Could it be because they had to give jobs to all the boys and all the girls? They have already paid leave pay to at least one sitting cabinet minister. They have already paid leave pay to at least one sitting cabinet minister, a practice that the SLP refused to follow for its ministers when in government. So early in their rule, the UWP is openly breaking promises. In the UWP manifesto, they said that the SLP were rewarding supporters with ambassadorial appointments. Now the Prime Minister admits that Guy Myers is political and, as he says, ambassadors are political. Really, really, Prime Minister, how can we trust the government? The Prime Minister in his travels must be careful and not allow any private sector person or organization to pay for his overseas travel. That's dangerous and should be stopped. There must never be perceived bias or the possibility that the Prime Minister can ever be compromised when he goes on one of these paid trips. He must be careful. The UWP has embarked on the most vicious cycle of victimization ever seen in our country. Ministers of government, including the Prime Minister, openly state that government employees should be fired. They have dismissed defenseless poor workers at the Castries City Council, the NCA, the SSDF, and even step workers. The UWP government promised that there would be no more step. The Prime Minister described step as disgusting, demeaning, and degrading. He claimed that women were ashamed to engage in step and would hide when working on the step. They are now in power. Only what they have done is a big, huge step to stimulate economic activity, a national step. And to add insult to injury, they have used step as a tool for rampant victimization of perceived SLP supporters. Only UWP parliamentarians and defeated UWP candidates at elections are allowed to recommend workers to the STEP program. Only defeated candidates are allowed to recommend workers, and they say with impunity that they were given bursaries and scholarships. That is a cruel and vindictive government. Can we trust this government? Is this a government for all the people? The answer is no. The UWP government has treated this country as if it is only for them and their supporters. It is a government for the UWP only. There has been much talk on the economy. I have said before that even if you lie, you cannot lie on the reality of the figures. It's a quantitative science, and figures speak for themselves. When we were elected in 2011, we were honest with the people and informed them that for a number of reasons, including the world economic situation and the high levels of recurrent expenditure and debt, that we had to undertake some tough measures to improve the economy and place it on the path of sustainability. Some of these measures included the imposition of VAT as a replacement tax. VAT was a replacement tax. It replaced some taxes that already existed. Example, consumption tax. VAT is a tax on consumption, and the Labour Party was sensitive on its impact on the lower income earners. In this regard, St. Lucia, although it was the last country to implement VAT in the OECS, ensured that most basic food items were either VAT exempt or zero rated. VAT was set at 15% based on studies and the objectives of government to reduce the debt to GDP ratio by 60% by the year 2030. We told the public that 4 years later, there were signs of improvement in the economy, but we were still in difficult times. However, investment was returning and economic growth was on the rebound. We protected the workers of our country. We did not send civil servants home. We chose the least pain for the people of our island while being fiscally responsible. The SLP government was transparent and truthful with the people on the economy of St. Lucia. We spoke the truth. We were not politically expedient. We were not interested in short-term political gain. We were, and we are totally committed to the future well-being of all our people, whatever party you support. What did the UWP promise the people during the election campaign? They made unrealistic promises to an unsuspecting electorate to gain an election victory. Now reality has set in. It is time to govern. Now is the time to fulfill these promises. You can run, but you cannot hide. They sought all consultants, even if the reality was staring them in the face. The reality of expenditure as against revenue. That is the reality. What did the consultant say? The same thing the SLP always said. Listen to what the Caribbean Development Bank in its latest report opined. Under the baseline scenario, the objectives that the government of St. Lucia has set for itself will not be realized. This means that the UWP plans would wreck the economy of our beautiful island. The SLP promises to continue in the path of fiscal sustainability while seeking economic growth through increasing direct foreign investment, by creating an enabling environment for that foreign investment, by modernization of our traditional sectors, particularly for the transformation of agriculture by focusing on new value-added crops. We'll also explore emerging tourism markets and modernize our manufacturing for the increased use of technology. This is our vision for the future of our economy. Fiscal consolidation, economic transformation, and economic growth. Our plans are realistic. We concentrated on the elimination of corruption, the rebuilding of our infrastructure, reduction of fiscal deficit, reduction of unemployment, and most importantly, speaking the truth. We are proud that when we left government, the economy was improving. Comrades, today we must signal to the world that our party is different. We are people of values. Our fundamental purpose for being in government is to develop a country that is based on bread, freedom, and justice. Comrades, going forward, we have to nurture our party on these values. Values that will improve the quality of life for all our people, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. We must find means of assessing our gains and working on and eliminating our weaknesses as we seek to build a better society in the future. The SLP party must be a party of trust. Trust in each other. All our members must be treated with dignity. We must respect differences of views, and criticism should never warrant disrespect. Our party must be disciplined. We must obey the constitution of our country. We must obey the constitution of our party. We must be prepared to follow the procedures and processes of our party. Our party must be accountable. We must be a party of service and must always be prepared to account to those whom we serve. We must be in politics to serve people, to better humanity, to improve the quality of life of the less privileged and all our people. Our party must be adaptable. We operate in a dynamic environment. We must embrace modern and emerging technology. However, we must never allow technology to compromise the reason why we exist as a party. Our party must practice equity. We must be fair and ensure that all people have equal opportunity to use the services offered by the state. Meritocracy must be the rule and not the exception. Our party must always show courage to do what is right. Our task may be challenging, but we must encourage ourselves to have the strength to follow our convictions, even in times of adversity and difficulty. We are labor because we trust, because we are honest, because we have integrity, because we are inclusive, because we are respectful, because we are disciplined, because we are accountable, because we are adaptable, because we believe in equity and we have courage. This is why we are labor. This is why we are labor. Today, in this constituency of Beaufort North, located in the south of St. Lucia, Labour territory, we signal to the world that the Labour Party is ready. We are ready to continue our work in rebuilding our country, transforming our economy, improving the standard of living of our people, particularly the working class. We are ready to continue taking our education to the next level, to bring technology to our education system, to to train our children for the new world. We are ready to improve your quality of life, to give you affordable health care. In the period between now and the next election, we must stay focused. As our theme says, we must organize, mobilize, and consolidate. We must organize our constituency groups and branches. We must increase membership to our party. We must expand our base with members who are committed and ready to serve and to pay their party dues. Our party will never be financed by big business. We are a people's party. Membership dues and contributions will always be the main source of our financing. So, we will not be obliged to any interest group when we are in government. All party groups and auxiliaries must be re-energized and re-engineered. We must pay special attention to our youth and women. Our youth need more than lip service. We are a party of the youth. We are the ones who made universal primary and secondary school education possible for the youth. We are the party that build more schools and send more poor people's children to universities to study so that they can lift themselves from poverty. We must tell our young people about the rich history of our party, our leader, George and founder, George F.L. Charles, so they can be inspired to join our party. We must expand the membership of our party and strengthen our party's organs and groups. Politics is about people. We cannot win without people. Improving people, that is why we are in politics. We have to convince people to join our party. Our party must attract the right people. However, they will not join us unless we can offer them an alternative. In future, our party must continue to develop and promote its policies so that we can attract new members. Our Labour Party has a remarkable history. We are traditionally the party for workers, for small business, a party that supports entrepreneurship and ethical business practices. We have nothing to be ashamed of. We serve our country well, both in and out of government. We must unite all progressive forces, all men and women of goodwill who want to see a prosperous St. Lucia. Our party has room for everyone. Let us leave here today with the resolve to go to every part of our country and preach the philosophy of labor. Why we must embrace the principles of labor. This is your charge. Let us consolidate on the gains of the past and prepare for a brighter future. Brothers, sisters, comrades, it has been a difficult year. A difficult year for our party. A difficult year for you. We have lost the general elections, but that is in the past. We must think of the future. The government has shown already that it is unfit and not capable of governing. They are too spiteful and vindictive. Their energies are spent on who, how, and when to victimize us, the public servants. We must be different. We must never feel sorry for ourselves as a party or fight among ourselves. Your attendance here this afternoon demonstrates that you are strong, you are dedicated, and you are ready for the task. We are on the right side of history. It was Albert Einstein who said, truth is what stands the test of experience. Our experience shows us that we always have to be ready to rescue our country from the mismanagement of the United Workers' Party. We must be ready. Let us stay united. Remember the words of John F. Kennedy. Do not pray for easy lives. Pray to be stronger men. We will need that strength to carry on. Ours is a date with destiny, our commitment to the cause of good government. Let us stay together and remember the words of Henry Ford. Failure is simply the opportunity to begin again more intelligently. And always remember what the great Martin Luther King said. The time is always right to do what is right. The time is now. I am ready to work with you. Are you ready? Are you ready? Long live labor. Long live the people of St. Lucia. Labor forever. Labor forever. Thank you very much.